Yeah, Sanjana. You're audible.
First one, ma'am. Storing and creating the new data from the database,
Okay.
and modify and updating the data
Mm,
which is already stored in the database. Third
okay.
one, removing and
Mm,
deleting the data from the database. And
mm,
last one, accessing and retrieving the data from the database.
yeah, correct. These are all the possible
Possible.
interactions we are going to do by using SQL. Okay. And then we learned about why the test engineers need to use this SQL means for backend validation. Okay. And I have given the notes till where like I think I need to give why are we learning SQL points, right?
Ma'am, I have given just definition.
Yeah, definitions, both definitions, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay, then take down the notes. Write the heading as why are we learning SQL? Why are we learning SQL? In that first point, since SQL is a query language, since SQL is a query language, we can learn it easily. We can learn it easily. Next point, client server access. Client server access. Then put a small hyphen and continue. We can access the application. We can access the application, comma request and response from the database. We can access the application, comma request and response from the database easily by using SQL. From the database easily by using SQL. Next point, third point, simple troubleshooting. Simple troubleshooting. Put a hyphen, then continue. Since it is a query language, since it is a query language in which, since it is a query language in which we can easily troubleshoot the, since it is a query language in which we can easily troubleshoot the issues and errors. Can easily troubleshoot the issues and errors. Full stop. Last point. To store the data into the database. To store the data into the database. And and to retrieve the data and to retrieve the data from the database. And to retrieve the data from the database. Done.
Yes.
Others done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In today, we have a different topic that is like domain name server. Domain name server means it is nothing but in the like in that heading only it will say it is a server, right? It can be called as DNS also. Okay. Domain name server means it is a computer server, normal server. Server means what it will do, it will contain databases and also the datas, right? The same way, these also contain some of the databases, which in that databases we will have many of the IP address, different IP addresses. And for those particular IP addresses, there will be particular domain name. For example, I can take uh, in the in the company, every employee will have a different employee ID, right? Unique employee ID. So the employee ID is can be taken as IP address and their names, employee names can be taken as domain names. Okay. To recognize those employee ID, we'll have a names for them, right? In that same way, it is a server. This domain name server, it is a server, computer server that contains many IP addresses and their associated domain names. Okay. Now, for example, in here, as we ever like, if we want to access any of the application or any of the things, if we go through the web, we go for the browser itself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when we go to the browser, we are going to type a particular web application which we are required. For example, I'm typing, I want Facebook. Okay, I want to open Facebook web. Right? I have given just a Facebook and I am going to give the enter. Then I'll get so many suggestions for logging into the Facebook account or Facebook web application. Right? Then how come if I give the Facebook, if I search for a Facebook, I'll get only the Facebook related suggestions. If I give the Flipkart or Amazon or any other e-commerce application or any other social media applications, I'm going to get that particular suggestions only for that particular web application. How this is possible?
We have entered a domain name, particular application.
Right? Yeah, we are going here. I am going to give it Facebook, but you can see in here it has some long URL, right? You guys can see that, right? This is the
Yes, ma'am.
particular URL that is stored in the server, stored in the Google Chrome browser server. In this way, if a user is asking to open a Facebook web application, then this particular URL should be used. Okay, that URL is used. Then when we click the enter, this like we can call request. Okay, I'm requesting to the browser that I need to open Facebook account. Okay, so it will work on that. It will process on that what I am requesting. Then it will search for the particular IP address which is given to the Facebook domain. Okay, then after searching for the Facebook, it will give all these suggestions. Then if I click any of the one suggestion, I'm going to get the login page of the Facebook. Here what happens first means I have searched for Facebook. Okay, that Facebook particular domain has its own URL in the server, Google server. After that, it will give the suggestions of so many Facebook. How can you log into the Facebook? I get more links. Then I'll click on one of the link that I need to log into the Facebook. I clicked on the link. After clicking onto the link, what happens? It will goes to the modem, we'll call, which is nothing but internet provider. It can be Wi-Fi, it can be your own data, or it can be modem. Okay, any of the internet provider that will go to the server and request for the search for the domain name server. Okay, it will search in the domain name server that which is the IP address that is associated for logging in page of the Facebook. Okay, then it will take that particular IP address for that particular URL, and that is given directly from the domain name server to the web server. After it gives the IP address to the web server, based on that request, it will understand this user needs to open the login page of the Facebook. Okay, getting
So,
okay. Then after that, it will immediately respond by giving the login page, login or sign up page. Okay, then again, after getting the login page, what we should do?
email ID and password database.
Yeah, right. We are going to give the email ID or phone number, or it can be username, and also the password we are going to give. After that, if I give the valid email ID and password and clicked on the login button, what happens? It will again goes to the this request will like I want to log into the Facebook this particular account. Okay, I am asking to that system or to the Facebook app. What it will do on that time? It will goes to the server again and check for the authentication of that particular user. If I here I'm logging in, first I already sign up for the Facebook, right? In that, while signing up, I have given all the informations of mine, right? That information will be stored in the Facebook server. When I give my email ID and the password and click on login, that it will goes to the server and it will check that this user is already authenticated or not. Means it is this person is already signed up, or did he created the account previously or not. It will check for that. If it get the confirmation that yeah, this person is got authenticated, then it will allow me to the home page. Okay, this is how the whole server and the presentation layer works. In the presentation layer, we are just looking into what the browser is displaying. Means yeah, I'm giving the logging in credentials and I am logging into the account. But in that 1 second of time, these are all the things is going to happen in the back end. in the database layer we can call, or in the server. Okay, got the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay. Then we, like, while we are typing something in a Google, or it can be a password, it will take the password directly, like we can see the password, or it will be in star star,
Start.
Yes.
right? Yeah, why we get that in that way? Why can't we see our password directly?
Security purposes.
Yeah, right. For the security purpose, we are going to give the password in the encrypted way. And also, we while opening some of the applications, we'll be giving HTTPS. Right? You guys might heard that HTTPS. What is that HTTPS?
Hypertext transfer protocol.
Yeah, it is a hypertext transfer protocol secure. That is also for the security purpose. We are going to use that HTTPS. Okay. Then here, yesterday I explained you that these are all the 3 layers that will contain, like, by these 3 layers only we can develop an application. Okay, we can't miss any one of the layer in this presentation layer. That is what we can see, where that is what, like, the user can see. And we'll go to application layer. Application layer that contains completely programming, means by using the code they have developed that application. What are all the codes they have written, how it will be, we can see in that, but we won't understand anything, right? That in that way the application layer will be there. Then we have database layer. This database layer, it is mainly used to store the data. Okay, here, by taking these 3 layers of the application, we have 3 types of architecture: one tier architecture, two tier architecture, and 3 tier architecture. Okay, one tier architecture means it is the complete combination, like whole 3 layers are included in that. Okay, that complete set we are going to call it as one tier architecture. And when comes to two tier architecture, the communication only between presentation layer to middleware, this we can call it as middleware also. Presentation layer to application layer, we'll call them that, that way of communication has two tier architecture. Okay,
Ma'am, can you
then,
repeat?
yeah,
Uh,
first one is one tier architecture. Okay, one tier architecture, like, I can call these 3 layers are there na, these 3 layers are blocked into one software. Okay, these 3 will be in, here I have written separately, this is presentation layer, application layer, database layer. But in one tier architecture, what happens, all the 3 comes in one of the column, one of the box. In one box only we'll have all the 3 layers. Okay, and the next one is two tier architecture. Two tier architecture, what happens, only the presentation layer and the application layer communication, the communication between presentation layer and the application layer. Means here what happens, in the one tier architecture, all the 3 layers comes into one box. Okay, but in the second, two tier architecture, presentation layer comes out of the box, and application layer and the database layer comes into a single box. Okay, there is no separation will be there. Then next we comes to three-tier architecture. In the three-tier architecture, what happens? All the layers will get aparted and the communication will takes place between each and every layers. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Take down the notes for just first take down this diagram.
Ma'am, my heading for this diagram.
No, just take down the diagram. For why are we learning SQL? In that I have explained for client server access, right? It will help for there also and the next domain name server also. So just take the diagram. That's it. Or you can take different layers of an application. Take down different layers of an application and write the diagram.
Then, ma'am.
Then others done.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Take. Then okay. Take down the next heading, domain name server. Domain name server. In the bracket, take down DNS. In that, it is a computer server. It is a computer server that contains a database. It is a computer server that contains a database of many IP addresses
Ma'am, full form of IP address, ma'am.
Internet protocol address. It is a computer server that contains a database of many IP addresses and their associated domain names. And their associated domain names. Continue in the next line. HTTPS, like HTTPS stands for HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. In the next line, web browser is also called as a presentation layer. Web browser is also called as a presentation layer. And application and application layer is also called as business logic layer. And application layer is also called as business logic layer. Full stop. In the next line, for the first time, comma, when user enter the URL, for the first time, when user enter the URL in the browser, when user enter the URL in the browser, since we don't know the IP address, since we don't know the IP address, since we don't know the IP address, the request will be given to, since we don't know the IP address, the request will be given to, the request will be given to internet provider, the request will be given to internet provider, comma, which will be acting as an, request will be given to internet provider, full stop, full stop, through the internet provider, through the internet provider, the request will be given to, through the internet provider, the request will be, the request will be given to domain name server, domain name server, full stop. From domain name server, from domain name server, after fetching the IP address, from domain name server, after fetching the IP address for particular URL, for particular URL, comma, the request will, comma, the request will directly given to web server. The request will directly given to web server. Full stop. Web server, web server, based on that request, web server, based on that request, it will understand, it will understand that, it will understand that The request is for login page. It will understand that the request is for login page. Full stop. After understanding, after understanding, after understanding, comma, the immediate response, after understanding, comma, the immediate response from web server, the immediate response from web server to web browser, the immediate response from web server to web browser will be given, will be given in the form of, will be given in the form of login or sign up page, login or sign up page. Full stop. Continue in the next line. After getting login page, after getting login page, after getting login page, comma, when we enter username and password, when we enter username, username and password and click on login button, and click on login button, we'll be direct, we will be directly given to the web server. Write down, we will be directly giving the credentials to the web server. We will be directly giving credentials. We will be directly giving credentials to the web server, to the web server, which will be in the format of HTTPS, which will be in the format of, which will be in the format of HTTPS. In front of that, in the bracket, write down username and password will be encrypted. Username and password will be encrypted. Then continue. Web server will understand the request. Web server will understand the request that, web server will understand the request that it is for home page. Web server will understand the request that it is for home page. Full stop. To provide home page, to provide home page has a response. To provide home page has a response. User has to be authenticated. Home page has a response. User has to be authenticated. So, user has to be authenticated. So, the request from web server. So the request from web server to the application server. So the request from web server to the application server and application server to data server and application server to data server has been transferred. Has been transferred. Has been transferred. Full stop. In the next line, in database server, in database server, in database server, user will be authenticated. User will be authenticated, comma, if user is authenticated, comma, if user is authenticated, the response from database server, if user is authenticated, the response from database server to the application server, to the application server, and from application server, and from application server to web server, from application server to web server, and from web server to web browser, and from web server to web browser will be given in the form of home page, will be given in the form of home page. Full stop. Done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then next, take down the heading as two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture. In that, communication between web browser, communication between web browser and middleware, and middleware, middleware, middleware is nothing but two-tier architecture, is nothing but two-tier architecture. Next, take down the heading as three-tier architecture, three-tier architecture. In that, communication between middleware and database server, middleware and database server is called as three-tier architecture, is called as three-tier architecture. Full stop. In the next line, web browser is also called as presentation layer. Web browser is also called as presentation layer. Full stop. Application server is also called as business layer. Business layer. Okay. You guys understood about the domain name server and HTTPS and the architectures, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, it's clear. No doubts?
No.
Guys, I want everyone to respond. Not 2 or 3 members are responding. Everyone should respond, right? I can get to know all are okay, all are active and all are getting the point.
Ma'am, can you
Yeah.
explain three-tier architecture again?
3-tier architecture. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. 3-tier architecture, it is nothing but like what happens means this presentation layer and the application layer will become one. Means in the 2-tier architecture, application layer and the database layer will become one, and the presentation layer will here. Wait, I'll explain. See here, in while giving the notes in the definition, I have mentioned a word called
Middleware.
middleware, right? Yeah. In the 2-tier architecture, what happens? This presentation layer will be like presentation layer is nothing but our browser, okay, web browser. This will be one block, and these two combinedly will we are going to call it as middleware. These two combines into one and becomes one block, and afterwards the communication happens between them. Okay, that is 2-tier architecture. In 3-tier architecture, what happens means all these will be separate only. All this will be separate blocks. We'll have presentation layer, application layer, and the database layer. All are in separate block, and the communication happens between all of them. But while considering, we are going to say that this presentation layer and application layer will be combined, and those will be communicated with the database layer. Got it?
Yeah.
Understood? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So when do we see two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture, ma'am?
Like
For
that
example.
depends on the how we are going to communicate. The user, how the user will going to use that application. For example, like while creating the account, we are going to give the all the information directly to the database, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Means that is 3-tier architecture. In the presentation layer, I am going to fill all my details, and I'll click on create account, And that time, all my information will be stored in the database.
Okay.
Okay. Then another one is we have two-tier architecture that will comes with web browser and the middleware. Whenever, like for example, I can say, when we want to log into the account, if
Okay.
we saved that in the Google browser, if we saved into the Google browser, when we want to log in, it will give a message. I have already your authentication. You can use this username and password. We'll directly, we won't type again our username and password. It will provide us our username and password. We'll just click on the enter and we can log in. Right? That
Okay,
comes in two-tier
it
architecture.
means that Google account will be acting as application layer at the time.
Not application layer. It will be acting both application layer and database layer.
So middleware.
Middleware.
Okay.
Whatever the thing we are going to see, that is presentation layer. Okay.
Okay.
And all the storing part will be database layer. And the navigation thing happens now. While now, for example, for Flipkart, I'm opening Flipkart. This is our application. Okay. In this application, we have all these things. We have so many options here, different categories. And whenever I go on above on this, I'm going to get subcategories of that particular category. The developer have been done in this way. They have developed the application in this way only. We can know that, while we go above, if we place an arrow on any of the category, I'm going to get the subcategory. But in the back end, nothing but in the application layer, they have written some code to run in this way, the application, right? This is called application layer. We can't see it. We just, we can know that, some backend like programming is done. That's it. Okay. While using any of the application layer will be included anywhere in all the applications. Okay. But this, we can see the presentation layer and the database layer from as I said, while logging in, we can get to know that we are interacting with the database layer in that way. Got it?
Yes, madam.
Then, can anybody tell me who are all can use the SQL?
Database developer, tester, and administrators.
Yeah, right. Okay. SQL can be used by the developers as well as test engineers and also the administrators. Developers, why they use, what they can do by using SQL means they can create the data and also they can create the database. Okay, by using the SQL. Means which is nothing but like creating their own creativity. They'll create some data into the database, and they can even create the database also, their own database, and they can also create their own data. And test engineers, what they can do, as I said before, they are going to use this SQL to do the backend validation. What is backend validation, guys?
Checking the data.
Checking the data that is already stored in the
Stored.
backend or database. Yeah. Then we have another point, that is database administrator. What this person can do here, what the database administrator can do by using SQL is, he is going to use the SQL to give the successful environment to the database. Means now, in the mobile, we'll have storage. Sometimes due to the crashing, every storage will, we are going to lose the storage, right? Like photos or videos or some documents, anything. Means the crashing or some any disasters might happens, right? To recover from, we need to recover all the data, because it is not easy like we leave the all the data, because it is by all the end users, all the customers. We can't be negligency in that. On that time, this database administrator will come into the picture. This person will use the SQL to maintain the successful environment. He'll give a good environment to the database. Okay, understood? Means mainly that if any crash or disaster happens, then he knows how to back up the data, how to back up all the data from the database. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, take down this also, notes. Take down the heading as users of SQL. Users of SQL are who can use SQL. In that, take down SQL developers. SQL developers, or we can also call it as database developers. Okay, mainly almost the people who all work based on this SQL now, we are going to call them as database engineers. Means database developers, database testers, in that way. Then in the next point, take down SQL testers. And database administrators. Done? Okay. Take down the heading as database developers. Database developers. In that, developers use SQL. Developers use SQL to create database. Developers use SQL to create database and to create data in database. Create database and to create data in database. Full stop. Next heading, database tester. In that, test engineers use SQL. Test engineers use SQL to perform. Test engineers use SQL to perform what they are going to perform.
Backend validation.
Yeah. Test engineers use SQL to perform backend validation. Next, take down the heading as backend validation. Backend validation. In that, whatever the data which is entered, whatever the data which is entered in front end is successfully stored in backend or not. Successfully stored in backend or not. Let's stop. Take down the next heading. Database administrator. Database administrator. In that, database administrator will use SQL. Database administrator will use SQL to maintain successful environment in a database. Successful environment in a database. Full stop. It means if any crashes, or disasters happens, then how to recover or back up the data, and how to prevent crashes and disasters, and how to prevent crashes or disasters, and how to prevent crashes or disasters.
Can you repeat how to recover from?
How to recover from crashes or disasters. Sorry, how to recover or back up the data. How to recover or back up the data, comma, how to recover or back up the data, and how to prevent crashes, and how to prevent crashes or disasters, and how to prevent crashes or disasters. Everybody understood all the topics which I covered today?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, great. Okay, then tomorrow we'll continue with another topics like we have data concepts and some like history about SQL, and also we have the how the software will works, but how the SQL will works in that. All those topics we are going to cover in tomorrow session. Okay. Okay then.